Audio Jungle.
This video is for information and educational purpose only.
Hello friends, hope you are all good and doing well. As we are going to focus on cabin design learning stuff, that means for the preparation of structural cabin design engineer or cabin design expert. Also, we are going to learn cabin design regulations, we can say norms, specifically for the heavy equipment manufacturing companies, or you can say organizations like Caterpillar, Komatsu, Sany, John Deere, Volvo, Hitachi, XCMG, and many more organizations. So, in our last video, we already have discussed about rollover protective structure, ROPS, rollover protective structure test, and its related terms. What is ropstest, why it is required, how to conduct test, and about its clear results. Now, we are going forward to that learning today. So today we are going to discuss about FOPS. We are called as FOPS test, Falling Object Protective Structure, FOPS, Falling Object Protective Structure. So in FOPS, what we are going to learn in this video. In this video, we are going to learn what is FOPS test, FOPS, FOPS test, definition of FOPS, how to comply of FOPS test, FOPS test, which standard need to follow in heavy industries for complying the FOPS test. We are also going to learn what is the impact of dropping object on the roof liner or roof plates of machines like tractors, excavators, backhoe loaders, load hauls, cranes, etc. Here in this video, we also going to watch practically how that FOPS, FOPS test becomes conducted, and to get certification of cabins which to performance criteria conducted before the test. Also, some kinetic energy calculations for understanding of kinetic energy impact we are going to see in this video. So without doing any further delay, let's start learning of FOPS test, that means Falling Object Protective Structure.
Going to focus on the definition of FOPS, FOPS, Falling Object Protective Structure. It is a system of a structure member arranged in such a way to provide operator with a reasonable protection from following object like rocks or trees, etc. To get that scenario, please consider heavy machine like excavator working on a site below or nearby the mountain, and consider as per the regulation wise some part of the rocks up to mass consider 45 kg falls on the cabin So definitely it will impact roof plate or roof liner plate by creating an kinetic energy approximate 1365 joules. So we need to conduct trial and to confirm that if such type of case happen, then roof plate or roof liner becomes absorb that energy by using a ductile material. That material should be Charpy impact V-notch material. I have already explained in my previous video, that is FOPS FOPS test. So I suggest please watch this video. Rocks or roof plate parts should not enter into the operator protection zone or should not enter into the DLV. So our operator becomes safe. That is the main intention of this FOPS, following object over protection test. Exactly similar scenario will also happen in case of following trees on the cabin. That case also we can discuss for perfect understanding of this concept. For getting scenario of falling big trees on the cabin, according to the regulation, we are considering the cylindrical tree or trunk of the tree. Weight consider up to max 227 kg. So when it falls on the top of the cabin roof plate or roof liner plate, it generates approximate 11,600 joules. How that digit come, we are going to see next. That means 11,600 joules means 1183 kg force meter. It is quite huge energy. It is created after falling the trunk of the tree on the roof. So the thing is that we need to conduct trial and to confirm that if such case will happen, then roof plate or roof liner plate of excavator, load all, backhoe, crane, any heavy machines, it should have to absorb that energy by using ductile material, that is Charpy V-notch material test. So the main thing is that after impacting the trunk on the roof plate, not any small portion of tree trunk or the roof plate parts should not enter into the operator protection zone or should not enter into the DLV portion. So our operator becomes safe. That companies need to confirm before manufacturing of cabin and to get certified before selling their vehicles in market. If by mistake they missed that ropstest test or FOPS test and they have not certified that and they manufactured, then penalty of a huge amount and company brand name, that means the image of that company, becomes damaged. It is very serious issue. So That is why companies spending lot of money during conducting the ropstest and FOPS test for getting clear result and to get the certified from the third party. For conducting FOPS test, which standard need to refer or follow? We need to refer ISO 3449/2008 2008 for FOPS test, falling object protective structure test. Which two level of performance criteria need to conduct before test? Now we are going to see some calculations of those two level of performance criterias. We are calculating dropped object impact. In this case, a dropped object from certain height and hitting on the roof plate or roof liner plate of heavy equipment machines like tractors, cranes, dumpers, excavators, etc. will generate a kinetic impact. As we all know, kinetic energy formula is Ke is equal to half mv square, mass into velocity square. But in our case, FOPS test, considering velocity is a 0. So it becomes potential energy. So formula becomes mgh, that means mass of the object, then gravitation, acceleration, that value should be constant, it is 9.81 meter per second square, and h is the height from point to point release point of contact. Now we are going to see the calculation of the level 1. In level 1, protection against the impact of a round test. Object dropped from the height. As per the regulation, the height is 3.1 meter, sufficient to develop on energy is 1365 joules or 1365 joules Newton per meter. So this criteria we are considering according to the standard. That standard should be ISO 3449/2008. So if we put all the values, kinetic energy is equal to mgh, that is our formula. So the mass of the iron ball should be 45 kg and material should be solid steel or ductile. Diameter should be specific. It should have be 200 to 250 mm diameter of that iron ball. In testing, we are considering that iron ball becomes the rock in our practical case. So now we are going to put those values: 45 kg ball weight, iron ball weight, multiply by 9.807 meter per second square, that is our G value, it is constant, and height should be 3.1 meter. according to the regulation. So energy will generate is equal to 1365 joules. So this is the first level of performance we should have to cross check during the test. Now we are going ahead to see the level 2 part. In level 2 part, protect against the impact of cylinder test objects. You can say the trunk of the tree dropped from the height sufficient to develop an energy of 11,600 joules according to the ISO standard ISO 3449/2008. So the formula becomes kinetic energy is equal to mgh, where m is the mass of the trunk, or you can consider mass of the cylinder which we are going to hit it on the roof plate. It should be 227 kg. Multiply by 9.807 meter per second square, that is the value of g, which is constant, and height should be 5.22 meter. We are taken this value height from the standard, so it will generate 11,600 joules. So these are the two level we should have to cross check during the FOPS test, falling object over protection. Now how we are going to see the deviation of those two levels? So for level 1, the impact of sphere shall be entirely within 100 mm radius, because you already know that the diameter of that iron ball becomes 200 to 250 mm, means 20 to 25 centimeter diameter of that iron ball when it is left from the height of 3.1 meter. It should have to impact on the roof plate, and after the deviation point of view, how we can clear that result? If the impact of sphere shall be entirely within 100 meter radius, 100 mm radius, then only we can clear that yes, our FOPS level 1 test becomes passed. If it impacts up to 100 mm radius, that means max to max 200 dia, you can consider it. But suppose it will goes away from that dimension, that means more than 200 diameter on impact on that roof plate or roof liner plate, then the test becomes failed. In that scenario, we need to replace the material of that plate to find out the sustainable another material and its contents. Okay, now we are going to see the deviation, limit of the deviation for the level 2nd. How we can cross check? For level 2, the initial impact of the small end of circle of 200 mm radius. The initial impact of the small end of the test object shall be entirely within the circle of 200 mm radius for the 2nd level of test. So after the impact of that cylinder, it will obviously affect on the roof plate, but the DLV and the impacted of that plate having need to maintain the safe distance for the operator point of view. If it is enough, we have to measure it, then we can say the FOPS test level 2 is also passed. So now we are going to see the practical level 1 case. In this video, we are going to see the practical test of level 1 performance. Here you can see the cylinder we have to mount on the center of the cabin. You can see there is a roof plate. This is the cabin. You can see the A post, B post and C post. This test we are going to conduct for the trees as well as the rocks. Steel cylinder, you can see it is of 227 kg and material is the ductile steel. We have placed it at the center of the cabin. So now we are going to lift that cylinder up to 3.1 meter height. So you can see the distance, and after that now we are ready for test.